Friend. Wait, we're both in.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Random Venom. I'm your host, RavenWood, and I don't think I got on. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Random Venom. I'm RavenWood, and here's the Indominic Rex.
I'm
And
your other host.
your co-host. And
Welcome back to our RavenWood Reads live stream. Today we're going to be continuing with Michael Crichton's Jurassic Park.
Yes.
Now, some of you may be wondering, wait a minute, you already did a live stream reading this earlier. What's going on? We're pressing charges. We're suing. Shut up. It's our channel. We know what we're doing. There was some unforeseen events caused by the dark side that happened a couple weeks ago. Messed up some footage. So RavenWood here took it upon himself to reread some chapters and whatnot. And he went ahead and read a little bit ahead. You ungrateful bastard. And you stumbled over each sentence.
At least we read it, so there we go.
Yes, and we're going to continue reading tonight. Turn on the light switch.
It is. Oh.
It is not on.
Now it's on. Now, okay.
Behold, the Lord spaketh, and there was light. So, with that being said, let us begin. Let's continue with the book. We'll be starting off with our next chapter, Hammond. Now, do I continue to read Hammond's part with the...
Yes, if I did. Okay.
All right.
I also, if Ross comes along, if a character named Ross comes along, you gotta make him sound like Ross.
I don't know what Ross sounds like.
He sounds like this. He sounds like he's panicking all the time, and he's got his voice. He's just like, Yeah, but Ross is probably no longer in the picture. Gennaro, I just gave him my best attempt at the movie version.
You read this part already.
I read this part. You can reread it. It's okay if you reread it.
I'm not going to.
No, for people on this stream.
Right.
Or people who decide to.
All right.
Just to catch people back on.
Let's catch back up then. Let's go. Gennaro's secretary bustled in with a new suitcase. It still had the sales tags on it. You know, Mr. Gennaro, she said severely, when you forget to pack, it makes me think you don't really want to go on this trip.
I gave her more of a Karen voice.
You know, we can't all be talented voice actors.
I'm not a voice actor.
Maybe you're right, Gennaro said. I'm missing my kid's birthday. Saturday was Amanda's birthday, and Elizabeth had invited 20 screaming 4-year-olds to share it, as well as Kepi the Clown, the magician.
I made a big deal about
every child wants a clown to go to their birthday party.
Hi, kids!
4 years old.
I'm Kepi the Clown.
Welcome to the 90s, folks.
I'm so glad I wasn't a Kepi the Clown and a magician.
His wife hadn't been happy to hear that Gennaro was going out of town. Neither was Amanda. Well, I did the best I could on short notice, his secretary said. There's running shoes your size, and khaki shorts and shirts, and a shaving kit, a pair of jeans, and a sweatshirt if it gets cold. The car is downstairs to take you to the airport. You have to leave now to make the flight. She left. Gennaro walked down the hallway, tearing the sales tags off the suitcase. As he passed the all-glass conference room, Dan Ross left the table and came outside. Now, this is a character that was not in the movies. So,
Well, I mean,
have a good trip, Ross said. But let's be very clear about one thing. I don't know
no, he
how
sounds
bad
more.
this situation actually is, Donald.
He,
But if there's a problem on that island, burn it to the
no, you
ground.
gotta make him sound like he's whiny. He's Ross from Friends. You know, he's whiny.
I haven't seen Fringe in years.
Well, let me give it a try.
No, I can do it. I can do it.
Okay, you make a favor.
All right.
Let me at least read the sentence and then you try it. Okay, have a good trip. I said, but let's be clear about one thing. I don't know how bad the situation is, Donald, but if there's a problem on the island, burn it to the ground.
Missed 2 entire words.
Well, I was speed reading it to get like the feel of the voice. And I was also trying to get sound like he's
I think I like my interpretation.
Okay, you go. Okay.
Have a good trip, Ross said.
Now you just sound like Nicolas fucking Cage. Oh, have a good trip.
But let's be very clear about one thing. I don't know how bad the situation actually is, Donald. But if there's a problem on that island, burn it to the ground.
Nicolas Cage.
How did that sound like Nicolas
You sound
Cage?
because Nicolas Cage sounds like he puts chalk in his mouth and he sparks like that. Yeah.
Jesus, Dan, we're talking about a big investment. Oh, don't hesitate. Don't think about it. Just do it. Hear me? Gennaro nodded. I got caught up. Gennaro nodded. I hear you, he said. But Hammond, or screw Hammond, Ross said.
I'm sorry. I'm just like you don't sound like Ross. You sound like Nicolas Cage.
All right. Here we go.
Yeah, it has to make you have to make it sound like it's raining. Okay.
To prepare.
Okay, yeah. Here we go.
Wait, you have to prepare the appropriate imperial sound.
I don't have my phone with me, so.
No. It's your mouth that's gonna be horrible. My boy, the familiar raspy voice said. How have you been, my boy? Very well, sir, Gennaro replied. He leaned back in the padded leather chair of the Gulfstream II jet as it flew east toward the Rocky Mountains. You never call me anymore, said reproachfully.
Emperor Palpatine goes to Darth Vader. You never call me.
Lord Vader, you never call anymore. All right. I've missed you, Donald.
He goes to like Donald Duck.
I've missed you, Donald. How God, what is this descending into? How is your lovely wife? She's fine. Elizabeth's fine. We have a little girl now.
So now that technically sounds like Ross a little bit, just not as wine.
Wonderful. Children are such a delight. She'd get a kick out of our new park in Costa Rica. Gennaro had forgotten how short Hammond was.
Now Palpatine's just like
as he sat in the chair. His feet didn't touch the carpet. He swung his legs as he talked. There was a childlike quality to the man, even though Hammond must now be, 75, 76? Something
That's
like that.
perfect.
He looked older than Gennaro remembered. then
He's gonna live this way.
Gennaro hadn't seen him
There you
for almost 5 years. For almost 5 years. Hammond was flamboyant.
go. Now we got.
Oh, kind of like you.
No, but just imagine
A
like
born showman. And back in 1983, he had an elephant that he carried around with him in a little cage. The elephant was 9 inches high and a foot long, and perfectly formed, except the tusks were stunted. Hammond took the elephant with him to fundraising meetings. Gennaro usually carried it into the room. The cage covered with a little blanket like a tea cozy, and Hammond would give his usual speech about the prospects for developing what he called consumer biologicals. Then, at the dramatic moment, Hammond would whip away the blanket to reveal the elephant, and he would ask for money.
the elephant in the room.
The elephant was always a rousing success. Its tiny body, hardly bigger than a cat's, promised untold wonders to come from the laboratory of Norman Atherton, the Stanford geneticist who was Hammond's partner in the new venture. But as Hammond talked about the elephant, he left a great deal unsaid. For example, Hammond was starting a genetics company, but the tiny elephant hadn't been made by any genetic procedure. Atherton had simply taken a dwarf elephant embryo and raised it in an artificial womb with hormonal modifications. That in itself was quite an achievement, but nothing like what Hammond hinted had been done. Also, Atherton hadn't been able to duplicate his miniature elephant, and he tried. For one thing, everybody who saw the elephant wanted one. Then, too, the elephant was prone to colds, particularly during winter. The sneezes coming through the little trunk filled Hammond with dread, and sometimes the elephant would get its tusks stuck between the bars of the cage and snort irritably as he tried to get free. Sometimes he got infections around the tusk line. Hammond always fretted that his elephant would die before Atherton could grow a replacement.
Oh. Okay.
Well, that just took a dark turn. My gosh.
Just take care of the poor baby elephant.
Hammond also concealed from prospective investors the fact that the elephant's behavior had changed substantially in the process of miniaturization. The little creature might look like an elephant, but he acted like a vicious rodent, quick-moving and mean-tempered. Hammond discouraged people from petting the elephant to avoid nipped fingers. And although Hammond spoke confidently of $7 billion in annual revenues by 1993, his project was intensely speculative. Hammond had vision and enthusiasm, but there was no certainty that his plan would work at all, particularly since Norman Atherton, the brains behind the project, had terminal cancer.
So it's not an elephant, it's an abomination.
Which was a final point Hammond neglected to mention. Even so, with Gennaro's help, Hammond got his money. Between September of 1983 and November of 1985, John Alfred Hammond and his Pachyderm portfolio raised $870 million in venture capital to finance his proposed corporation, International Genetic Technologies Incorporated, or InGen Technologies Incorporated. And they could have raised more, except Hammond insisted on absolute secrecy, and he offered no return on capital for at least 5 years. That scared a lot of the investors off. In the end, they'd had to take mostly Japanese consortia The Japanese were the only investors who had the patience. Sitting in the leather chair of the jet.
Can I read this part?
No.
Okay. I gotta
Of the
imagine, like,
jet, Gennaro thought about how evasive Hammond was.
my little elephant friend.
How I have waited for this moment, my little pachyderm friend.
The Japanese are like, you okay?
No, I'm afraid I'm doing quite terribly, Lord Vader.
I am not Lord Vader. I am Yoshi. I couldn't come up with it.
Yoshi.
It's just the Japanese, the Japanese. What is it?
Japanese consortium.
No, Japanese investor. I was looking for the right word. Investor. So the Japanese investor was actually a Yoshi sword. For some reason, I was trying to think of the common Japanese name, but for some reason, the first thing
the old man was now ignoring the fact that Gennaro's law firm had forced the trip on him. Instead, Hammond behaved as if they were engaged in a purely social outing. It's too bad you didn't bring your family with you, he said. Gennaro shrugged. It's my daughter's birthday. 20 kids already scheduled. The cake and the clown. You know how it is. Oh, I understand, Hammond said. Kids set their hearts on things. Anyway, is the park ready for visitors? Gennaro asked. Well, not officially, Jedi. All right. We're having way too much fun with this. My gosh. Why haven't any of you joined the stream yet? Why not? Anyway. Well, not officially, Hammond said. But the hotel is built, so there is a place to stay. And the animals? Of course, the animals are all there, all in their spaces, Gennaro said. I remember in the original proposal you were hoping for a total of 12. We're far beyond that. We have 238 animals, Donald. 238? The old man giggled. Oh, brother, I'm too invested in this Sidious thing. Pleased at Gennaro's reaction. I'm pretty sure I'm butchering the Sidious voice. I don't even sound.
It's fine. You're good. You're good. I thought I was butchering.
You can't imagine it. We have herds of them. 238. How many species? 15 different species, Donald.
No, I'm sorry. No, Gennaro has evolved into Donald Duck for me. Can we do that?
That's incredible. Why am I doing this?
Yes,
my poor throat's gonna be dead by the end of the stream.
Please, let's continue.
All right.
We have Sprite, so.
Right. Oh God. That's incredible, Gennaro said. That's fantastic. What about the world is like a computer.
Please say what?
What?
No. In the city. What?
What?
Okay, so.
All of it, Hammond said. Everything on that island is state of the art. You'll see for yourself, Donald. It's perfectly wonderful. That's why this concern is so misplaced. There's absolutely no problem with the island. Gennaro would then say,
This thing will quack every time.
I feel like I have to quack. And there isn't, Hammond said, but it slows things down, Lord Donald. Everything has to stop for the official visit.
I don't know what you set it off. It's glorious.
Oh, that. Hammond tugged at the red silk handkerchief in the breast pocket of his sport coat. It was bound to happen. Bound to happen. Wow, Gennaro asked. Well, Donald.
Heavens!
This is just casually what happens in the Kingdom Hearts universe.
Jurassic Park.
Welcome to the Jurassic Park.
What are you? You're not even Donald anymore.
My throat's already dying. I can't do this anymore.
I'll give it a shot in the next chapter.
Well done, Hammond said. To explain that, you have to go back to the initial concept.
Excuse me?
Excuse me. Of the resort. The concept of the most advanced amusement park in the world, combining the latest electronic and biological technologies. I'm not talking about rides. Everybody has rides. Coney Island has rides. And these days, everybody has animatronic environments.
Huh. I wonder if Fast
The haunted house, the pirate den, the Wild West earthquake. Everyone has those things. So we set out to make biological attractions, living attractions, attractions so astonishing they would capture the imagination of the entire world. Gennaro had to smile. It was almost the same speech, word for word, that he had used on the investors so many years ago. And you can never forget the ultimate object of the project in Costa Rica. To make money.
That's much better.
Hammond would stare out the windows of the jet. Lots and lots of money. I remember, Gennaro said. And the secret to making money in a park, Hammond said, is to limit your personnel costs. The food handlers, ticket takers, cleanup crews, repair teams. To make a park that runs with minimal staff. That was why we invested in all the computer technology. We automated wherever we could.
Alright, it makes sense. It's a probably expensive venture.
I remember. But the plain fact is, Donald, Hammond said, when you put together all the animals and all the computer systems, you run into snags. whoever got a major computer system up and running on schedule. Nobody I know.
So is this a normal startup delays?
Yes, that's right, Hammond would say. Normal delays.
I heard there were accidents during construction.
Gennaro said.
Some workmen died.
Yes, there were several accidents, Donald. Hammond.
just casually looks at Donald's like, yes, there was some accident.
And the total of 3 deaths.
So we got like Dr. Alan Grant from Dr. Alan Grant. We got Sadly Adler. We got Ellie Sadler. We got Ross from Friends. Emperor Palpatine. And now
Donald Gennaro. What is happening? Kingdom Hearts, when are y'all gonna do a Jurassic Park level in your games or a Star Wars level in your games?
I would like it I would like it if social media like finds this and then just do like a weird puppet show or something.
An animatic.
Yeah, an animatic.
This is just going to be so stupid.
Okay, anyways.
Well, no one's ever going to find this. It's like 11 at night or something.
I mean, like people rewatching this, you know. Anyways, continue.
Right.
Accidents.
Yes, there were several accidents, Donald, Hammond said, and the total of 3.
You added Donald.
And a total of 3 deaths. 2 workers died building the cliff road. 1 other died as a result of an earth mover accident in January. But we haven't had any accidents for months now. He put his hand on the younger man's arm. Done, he said. Believe me when I tell you that everything on the island is going forward as planned. Everything on that island is perfectly fine.
This is exactly what it is. He's not making this part up.
The intercom clicked. Pilot said,
Is the
seatbelts, please. We're landing in Shoto.
okay? Now let me read Shoto. This is short here. It's short.
Very fine.
Dry plains stretched away toward distant black. That's a butte.
Distant black butts.
I think it's
That's how it's pronounced. Butts.
okay. But hold on to your butts. Okay. Distant black butts. Sorry. Now I picture just like black butts, and then just like
It's the same pronunciation,
giant
but
black
a
butts
it's
and the
the
plains.
same pronunciation,
of
but
Johto.
different definition.
Okay, it was after.
Right.
No, I got
it.
it. The afternoon wind blew dust and tumbleweed across the cracked concrete. Grant stood with Ellie near the jeep and waited while the sleek Grumman jet. Oh, it's a Grumman jet. Okay, Grumman jet circled for a landing. I hate to wait on the money, man, Grant grumbled. Ellie shrugged. Goes with the job. Although many fields of science, such as physics and chemistry, had become federally funded, paleontology remained strongly dependent on private patrons. Quite apart from his own curiosity about the island in Costa Rica, Grant understood that if John Hammond asked for his help, he would give it. That was how patronage worked.
Patronage.
Yeah, patronage. I just pronounced it weird. Worked. Well, there's one viewer. Hey, one viewer.
Hello, one
Patron-
viewer. Welcome
Work.
to the Jurassic Park stream.
Anyways, patronage worked. How it always worked. The little jet, the tiny little jet. Anyways, the little jet landed and rolled quickly toward them. Ellie shouldered her back. The jet came to a stop, and a stewardess in a blue uniform. That's cool. A blue uniform opened the door. Inside, he was surprised how cramped it was. Despite the luxurious appointments, Grant had to hunch over as he went to shake Hammond's hand. Dr. Grant and Dr. Sattler, Hammond said.
Wait.
My bad. I misread.
Do it. The
sorry.
Sidious impression.
I misread it. That's right. Dr. Grant, Dr. Sattler.
All right, you can't do it.
No, I
can't do the voice.
Dr. Grant, Dr. Sattler, Hammond said. It's good of you to join us. Allow me to introduce my associate, Donald Gennaro. Gennaro was a stocky, muscular. Well, he's muscular. He was in the movie. He was like,
the movie was
I'm so
skinny.
Or was run away.
Okay, this is something I'm telling y'all about. There are many differences in the novel compared to the movie. They may as well be alternate timelines.
So this lawyer is basically like, I'm not skipping on day. When I go to court, I got these guns.
He's probably built like Arnold Schwarzenegger in the movie Predator.
So now imagine Donald Duck, but with muscular body. Chatty as Duck.
Chatty as Duck.
Oh yeah, Donald Gennaro. Gennaro was stocky, muscular man in his mid-30s. Wearing an Armani suit in wire-frame glasses. Grant disliked him on sight. Damn. Okay.
It's on sight with these people.
He shook hands quickly. When Ellie shook hands, Gennaro said in surprise, "That is my best.
We should stop. We need to stop. For the sanity of ourselves and our viewers.
These things happen," she said. Okay, there's the sexism. I see it. These things happen, she said. And Grant thought she doesn't like him either. Hammond turned to Gennaro. You know, of course, what Dr. Grant and Dr. Sattler do. They are paleontologists.
You can't do the accent.
Just
read it normally.
They dig up. No, I'm gonna do it. And they dig up dinosaurs. And he began to laugh as he found the idea very funny. Take your seats, please, the stewardess said, closing the door. Immediately, the plane began to move. You have to excuse us, Hammond said, but we are in a bit of a rush.
Okay, stop. You can't do the voice.
Donald thinks it's important we get right.
You can't do the voice.
I can't.
Stop.
I did it last stream. It's fine.
You are failing.
I'm a bit tired. Don't distract. It's important we get right down there. The pilot announced 4 hours flying time to Dallas, where they would refuel and then go on to Costa Rica, arriving the following morning. And how long will we be in Costa Rica? Grant asked.
Well, that really depends.
Johnson,
We have
I'll throat to clear up. Like my throat.
That's why you can't do it.
Take my word for it, Hammond said, turning to Grant. We will be down there no more than 48 hours. Grant buckled his seatbelt without struggle. I'm just kidding. Sorry. Grant buckled his seatbelt. This island of yours, we're going to. I haven't heard anything about it before. Is it some kind of secret of the mimic? Sorry. Is this
Stream's over.
Okay, no, please. Is this some kind of secret? In a way, Hammond said. We have been very, very careful about making sure nobody knows about it until the day we finally opened the island to a surprised and delighted public. Target of opportunity.
Target of opportunity.
How long is this one? It's also fairly short. We got.
No, I think I'll
Wait,
just.
No, let's
I think-
continue reading this.
Yeah, I think this will be the last one for.
No,
this-
we were in 30 minutes. Let's go. Keep going.
No, I'm just saying, like, I have obligations elsewhere.
Let's finish this chapter.
That's
and
why
then-
I just.
Okay.
The Biosyn Corporation of Cupertino, California, had never called an emergency meeting of its board
The
of
Biosyn?
directors. The 10 directors now sitting in the conference room were irritable and impatient. It was 8 p.m. They had been talking among themselves for the last 10 minutes, but slowly had fallen silent, shuffling papers, looking pointedly at their watches. Look pointedly at your watch.
They're just aggressively, just like.
Right.
Anyways,
What are we waiting for? One of them asked.
I hurt my throat somehow by doing that.
One more, Lewis Dodson said. We need one more. He glanced at his watch. Ron Meyer's office had said he was coming up on the 6 o'clock
Oh, this is
plane
not in.
from San Diego. He should be here by now, even allowing for traffic from the airport. You need a quorum, another director asked. Yes, Dodson said, we do. That shook them up for a moment. A quorum meant that they were going to be asked to make an important decision. And God knows they were, although Dodson would have preferred not to call a meeting at all. But Steingarten, the head of Biosyn, was adamant.
Oh, so there was someone else.
There was someone else before Dodson.
That would have been likely to know.
Steingarten. You'll have to get their agreement for this one, Lou, he had said. Depending on who you talk to, Lewis Dodson was famous as the most aggressive geneticist of his generation, or the most reckless. 34, balding, hawk-faced, and intense. He had been dismissed by Johns Hopkins as a graduate student
Hopkins.
for planning gene therapy on human patients without obtaining the proper FDA protocols. Hired by Biosyn, he had conducted the controversial rabies vaccine test in Chile. Now he was the head of product development at Biosyn, which supposedly consisted of reverse engineering, taking a competitor's product, tearing it apart, learning how it works, and then making your own version. In practice, it involved industrial espionage, much of it directed toward the Engine Corporation. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me reverse that for a second. Reverse engineering mostly involves taking another product, splitting it open, learning how it works, and then putting it back together as your own product.
Ah,
Voila.
wow.
In the 1980s, a few genetic engineering companies began to ask, what is the biological equivalent of a Sony Walkman? These companies weren't interested in pharmaceuticals or health. They were interested in entertainment, sports, leisure activities, cosmetics, and pets. The perceived demand for consumer biologicals in the 1990s was high. Ingen and Biosyn were both at work in this field. Biosyn had already achieved some success, engineering a new pale trout under contract to the Department of Fish and Game of the state of Idaho. This trout was easier to spot in streams and was said to represent a step forward in angling. It leaked at a limited complaints to the Fish and Game Department that there were no trout in the streams. Basically, they just made leucistic trout.
You could make a separate story about the evils of Biosyn versus, well, Ingen is the evils of Jurassic Park. What would Biosyn be making in a separate story?
The fact that the pale trout sometimes died of sunburn and that its flesh was soggy and tasteless
Skill
was
issue.
not discussed. Biosyn was still working on that, and the door opened and Ron Meyer entered the room, slipped into his seat. Dodson now had his quorum. He immediately stood. Gentlemen, he said, we're here tonight to consider a target of opportunity, Ingen. Dodson quickly reviewed the background. Engine's startup in 1983 with Japanese investors. The purchase of 3 Cray XMP supercomputers. The purchase of Isla Nublar in Costa Rica. The stockpiling of amber. The unusual donations to zoos around the world, from the New York Zoological Society to the Ranthambore Wildlife Park in India. Despite all these clues, Dodson said, we still had no idea where Ingen might be going. The company seemed obviously focused on animals, and they had hired researchers with an interest in the past. Paleobiologists, DNA phylogeneticists, and so on. Then, in 1987,
1987.
yeah, I was thinking that. In 1987, Ingen bought an obscure company called Millipore Plastic Products in Nashville, Tennessee. This was an agribusiness company that had recently patented a new plastic with the characteristics of an avian eggshell. This plastic could be shaped into an egg and used to grow chick embryos. Starting the following year, Ingen took the entire output of this Millipore plastic for its own use. So at least we know how they make the eggs.
Interesting.
Dr. Dodson, this is all very interesting, but at the same time, Dodson continued, construction was begun on Isla Nublar. This involved massive earthworks, including a shallow lake 2 miles long in the center of the island. Plans for resort facilities were let out with a high degree of confidentiality, but it appears that Ingen has built a private zoo of large dimensions on the island. One of the directors leaned forward and said, Dr. Dodson. So what? It's not an ordinary zoo, Dodson said. This zoo is unique in the world. It seems that Engine has done something quite extraordinary. They have managed to clone extinct animals from the past. What animals? Animals that hatch from eggs and that require a lot of room in a zoo. What animals? Dinosaurs, Dodson said. They are cloning dinosaurs. Dun, dun,
Can I read this
dun.
part?
No.
Onward? It's a short segment, and you're doing a lot of reading.
Yes, it's my book. I paid good money for this book. Spare no expense.
But it's my stream is reading with me and Dominic. Wait.
Yes, you
Where-
were here with me.
I only
as I
read
read.
I only read 2 pages. Technically speaking, 1 page if you consider the whole front and back technicality.
Oh, I'm afraid my vocals are still operational despite the 2 accents I did. Anyways, it's my book. The consternation that followed was entirely misplaced in Dodson's view. The trouble with moneymen was that they didn't keep up. They had invested in a field, but they didn't know what was possible. In fact, there had been discussion of cloning dinosaurs in the technical literature as far back as 1982. With each passing year, the manipulation of DNA had grown easier. Genetic material had already been extracted from Egyptian mummies and from the hide of a quagga, a zebra-like African animal that had become extinct in the 1880s.
So they can clone dead people.
Apparently.
Like they can clone King Tut.
I'm just saying, like, if they are mentioning stuff like this in the novels, maybe what they did.
No, you probably won't.
Maybe what they did in Fallen Kingdom with Maisel isn't as far-fetched anymore.
I mean, hold on.
I mean, it's still far-fetched,
well,
but maybe
you
not.
You can't
as
bring
anymore.
back the memory of a dead person, but
By
you can.
1985, it seemed possible that quagga DNA might be reconstituted and a new animal grown. If so, it would be the first creature brought back from extinction solely by reconstruction of its DNA. If that was possible, what else was also possible? The mastodon, the saber-toothed tiger, the dodo, or even a dinosaur?
The problem with
Of course, no dinosaur DNA was known to exist anywhere in the world.
The problem with cloning when it comes from the little research that I did is that it's not perfect because of the fact that like when you're cloning the cells that had already existed, it's going to continue the process of what that cell was already doing or something along the. I'm not wording it right, but like say. If that being had cancer or not cancer, if it had certain health issues at the time, it will. I'm not certain how this works, but like, but the way the cloning process is like, it would continue. It would only continue to age from that. I'm not wording it correctly, but like, it's not perfect. So.
The
Jurassic
problem with cloning is
yeah.
that you need a complete genome in order
Well,
to even
you have
recreate it.
In order to clone something, you have to have it at a younger age, not at an older age.
Mhm.
because essentially you're just dooming that creature or the thing you created in the lab doomed to die at an early age.
Well, they say cloning dinosaurs, but what they're doing is they're extracting DNA from fossilized amber and creating their own new babies.
Well, that's actually
They're cloning the DNA.
we haven't gotten to the, for some reason I don't know why, but we haven't gotten to the part where, why am I describing myself?
But by grinding up large quantities of dinosaur bones, it might be possible to extract fragments of DNA. Excuse me. Formerly, it was thought that fossilization eliminated all DNA. Now, that was recognized as untrue. If enough DNA fragments were recovered, it might be possible to clone a living animal. Back in 1982, the technical problems had seemed daunting, but there was no theoretical barrier. It was merely difficult, expensive, and unlikely to work. Yet it was certainly possible if anyone cared to try. InGen had apparently decided to try. What they have done, Dodson said, is built the greatest single tourist attraction in the history of the world. And as you know, zoos are extremely popular. Last year, more Americans visited zoos than all professional baseball and football games combined. And the Japanese love zoos. There are 50 zoos in Japan, and more being built. And for this zoo, InGen can charge whatever they want. $2,000 a year, $10,000 a day. And then there is the merchandising, the picture books, t-shirts, video games, caps, stuffed toys, comic books, and pets. Pets? Of course. If InGen can make full-size dinosaurs, they can also make pygmy dinosaurs as household pets. You see, if they had done this, then nothing at Jurassic Park would have gone wrong. The dinosaurs would have all been small. Then a pygmy velociraptor wouldn't have been able to kill anybody except for maybe a chicken.
Now, genetic engineering, or whatever it's called.
What child won't want a little dinosaur as a pet? A little patented animal for their very own. InGen will sell millions of them, and InGen will engineer them so that these pet dinosaurs can only eat InGen pet food. Jesus, somebody said. Exactly, Dodson said. The zoo is the centerpiece of an enormous enterprise. You said these dinosaurs will be patented? Yes. Genetically engineered animals can now be patented. The Supreme Court ruled on that in favor of Harvard in 1987. Was that the bite of 87?
Mom. Dodson is now Markiplier.
InGen will own its dinosaurs, and no one else can legally make them. What prevents us from creating our own dinosaurs? Someone asked.
Science.
Nothing, except that they have a 5-year head start. It'll be almost impossible to catch up before the end of the century. He paused. Of course, if we could obtain examples of their dinosaurs, we could reverse engineer them and make our own. With enough modifications in the DNA to evade their patents. Can we obtain examples of their dinosaurs? Dodson paused. I believe we can, yes. Somebody cleared his throat. There wouldn't be anything illegal about it.
What is he, Winnie the Pooh?
Oh, no. Dodson said quickly. Nothing illegal. I'm talking about the legitimate source of their DNA. A disgruntled employee or some trash improperly disposed of. Something like that. Do you have a legitimate source, Dr. Dodson? I do, Dodson said, but I'm afraid there is some urgency to the decision because Engine is experiencing a small crisis, and my source will have to act within the next 24 hours. A long silence descended over the room. The men looked at the secretary taking notes and the tape recorder on the table in front of her. I don't see the need for a formal resolution on this, Dodson said. Just a sense of the room as to whether you feel I should proceed. Slowly the heads nodded. Nobody spoke. Nobody went on record. They just nodded silently. Thank you for coming, gentlemen, Dodson said. I'll take it from here. Next time, the airport. All right. That was Jurassic Park. Thank you all for participating with us on our live stream. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, or if you didn't enjoy the video, you can hit the dislike button.
Before we
I
close,
promise our feelings won't be hurt too much, Jim. But also make sure you hit the subscribe button because that helps us out here over on the Random Fandom. And after you subscribe, you should totally hit the notification bell right next to it down there.
It's up there, actually.
No, the notification bell down there next to the
They
subscribe
moved it?
button. They didn't move it. The notification bell's always been next to the subscribe button.
Oh, okay, well, whatever.
But if you hit the notification bell right there next to the subscribe
It would
button,
make more sense to ring a bell that you appear.
well, it's next to the subscribe button. If you hit the notification bell, you won't miss a beat here on the Random Fandom, and you'll be able to see all of our videos. And the views help us, and they help you as well.
encourage us.
So, thank you. Your encouragement, your support, it helps motivate us to do more stuff like that.
Before we officially ended the stream, though, there's like a lot of problems over like cloning and whatnot. I don't know. I can't remember what like. I've been wanting to say this. So the problem with cloning is that like it's not like perfect. Like they can, in theory, yes, you can do it, but in order, I feel like but for some reason the science is not perfect to where they could just do it when the creature is at birth or when it's an embryo. I'm not certain. I don't know why that is, or if they have, then okay, well, I'm wrong. But from what I have researched, or from what I've seen, I haven't like deeply researched. I haven't like I just totally I just completely just took a glance at like some stuff and like watched a few videos about cloning and whatnot. The problem with cloning is it's just kind of complex, and so it's also the same. It's one of the reasons why like stuff like Jurassic Park cannot happen, because they have to find a way to.
Well, the thing about Jurassic Park is the way they describe it is almost impossible. Not saying, oh, it can never happen. We'll never be able to do it.
It's probable in the sense of like that you would have to completely remake.
I would say that the odds
scratch.
of an actual Jurassic Park happening scientifically probable. But not.
It's the same thing with the Terminator series. The moment when if the AI somehow taking over the future, or some AI somehow whatever taking over the future, blah blah blah.
I mean,
That
probably.
sounds
but
more like a problem if that would happen in the future. But the problem is
that's
that
future.
the problem,
us's
but the problem is that it's AI taking it when the moment when they go back in time to make sure that Skynet launches. The easiest way to just kill the virus is just unplug the thing. There's no because like that's from what I'm it's just, the plot is stupid, but the thing is you just have to overlook it. The whole plot of Terminator is stupid if you think about it, or if you actually do your research on like how these AI actually work. We're nowhere near the way the AI is described in Terminator, and even still with the AI in Terminator, all you have to do is just unplug the computer, turn it off, and then just restart, throw the computer out the window.
Well, the way they have it set up is that you have to destroy the computer completely in order for it to prevent the upload.
No, well, the thing is, you just unplug the computer. It's not.
But somebody could just plug it back in.
No, you just unplug the computer, and that's it. You just kill it from there. And then there's apparently some like file. You go to like the files or whatever of the computer, and then you just delete all that or something like that.
Well, then another virus happens.
Well, no. There's like a guarantee.
Saying,
there's like a guarantee way.
Always have a virus problem.
No, the thing is, there's a guarantee way to kill Skynet, and the movies just over exaggerate. Like, oh no,
they do.
It's the same thing.
Well,
with
movies always over.
It's not. Jurassic Park feels like it's more probable than Skynet. Than Terminator. I will give that credit.
Ironically enough, what they explain in Jurassic Park, both the novels and films, we have actually the potential to do. We do have the potential to extract DNA from fossilized embryo, fossilized amber. We have the ability to extract
the dire
DNA.
wolves are technically they're technically not actually dire wolves.
Yeah, they're not dire wolves.
Well, they're the closest thing to a dire wolf, but it's mostly
what I'm
genetic
saying
manipulation.
It's possible for us to do the extraction. We just haven't gotten to the steps of replicating the entire genome, and then filling it with the DNA of a frog to complete the genetic code.
Well, I don't think the frog is necessary, technically speaking.
Well, that's gene splicing. You use frog DNA or the DNA of other animals to fill in the gaps in the genetic sequence.
Well, and according
completely finish the code and make a DNA.
Yeah.
Well, that's how you make a baby dinosaur, by completing the genetic code before you make the embryo.
Well, anyways, that's all the time we have.
That is all the time we have. So until next time, everyone, cheers. Much love as always. We tip our hats to you.
Bye-bye.